What's going on? It's Andy with Midmo Dents. Today we're going to be putting some ceramic tint on a 24 Toyota Tundra. First we're going to verify the year, then we're going to put our 35% ceramic tint on the plotter and get it pulled up on Core's tint software. So we're going to put our year, make, and model in here. The trim doesn't really matter for as far as window tint goes. That's really only for PPF. We're going to make 3 cut boards, load our 2 front windows, 2 back windows, and then our back glass. This one is a solid back glass, so it's going to be a little easier to do. Kyle's going to go through and orient the film on the cut board so that way we got as little of waste as possible. So he's going to flip all these around and butt them up together, and then we'll go ahead and get the 35% cut off first before we switch over to the 20. And you might have seen in our other videos where we switched to the GraphTech plotter. We absolutely love this thing, and we've really got it dialed in. This is real-time speed of how quick we can cut with it. We had the Workhorse 2 before, which it was a good plotter for getting us started, but just it's nowhere near as good as the GraphTech. I mean, you can get both of them through Plotter Depot. That's where we got ours, but really the GraphTech's worth spending the money if you're going to be doing a lot of tint. So we'll go ahead and get these 2 weeded out and then flipped around, and then we'll switch over to our 20% ceramic so we can get our back windows cut and ready. Then we'll go ahead and start getting our windows cleaned after that. Now all we got to do is click on our second cut board, which that one has our back windows on it. We'll click cut. We'll get her cut off here. Go to the inside of the vehicle and we'll get the tops of the door panels loose so we can get the rubber sweep out. With pretty well 90% of the vehicles that we do, we will take all the rubber sweeps out because we like to bottom load, and we just think that's going to keep it a lot cleaner, a lot easier to clean all the window, and it's a whole lot easier to get the tint in there instead of fighting it past that rubber sweep. So we'll get those out and take that Sirius radio sticker off there. That way it doesn't cause any issues with our tint, and we'll go ahead and start cleaning the windows with our stainless steel razor blade. Now that we got any kind of debris cleaned off there with our stainless steel razor blade, we're going to go ahead and squeegee all our water down to the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and soak the sides to kind of flush down any dirt that we can't get behind that rubber gasket down towards the bottom. So we'll wet the window down, and now we're ready to tint. You can see with that rubber gasket removed how much of a gap we've got that we can easily slide the tint behind there. Like I said, again, it's just not worth fighting with those sweeps. I know some cars are loose enough you can get the tint slid down there, but it's just worth the extra time of taking the sweep out, not fighting it or greasing the tint. And if it's something you get in the habit of doing every day, most door panels can be removed in probably less than a minute on most cars. Obviously there's going to be more challenging ones, but once you're practiced and have done it every day, it should go very quick and be worth the time of doing it. Get all our soapy water squeegeed out from behind the tint, then we'll wipe down our door panels and we'll be ready to put it back together and move on to the back door. back door is going to be just about the same as the front door. There's going to be a couple clips that will pop out, and then there's just one Phillips screw behind the door handle that we'll take out. Like I said, again, we don't have to take the whole door panel off. We just need to get the top loosened up enough to take that sweep out of there. As you can see on this one, it did have 20% tint from the factory. We're going to put 20% of our tint over top of it, which is actually going to bring it to about 5% when it's finished. That's going to be dark enough that you'll see towards the end of the video that person can't easily see in. Again, that's going to be like 5% tint whenever it's done. Since this is factory tint, some people don't realize you can still scrub that with that razor blade. It's not going to damage it in any way because the factory is built into the glass. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be doing that after it's tinted because, again, with the tint being a film, it will definitely scratch it, just in case you didn't already know that. And you're going to see here in a second, again, since Core has really good patterns, we can almost get no gap at the top of that. I know some guys will leave a 1/4 inch gap or 1/8 inch gap, just for safety that it doesn't catch on the window. We've never had a problem with that, so we pretty well leave no gap at the top of the window. So that way it does kind of have a factory appearance when the customer does roll down their window. We'll get the water squeegeed out of this, get it put back together. Then we'll go to the fun one, which is going to be the back glass. We're going to go to cut board 3, which is going to be our back glass. Again, we always use 40-inch rolls on everything. I don't like keeping a bunch of different sizes around. I know we probably waste a little bit of film, but I think it's just easier to keep 40s in stock and then keep something smaller for our brows. We will have a couple of smaller rolls that we keep on hand if we do got to hand cut something, but that's about it. The reason these are a little bit more of a pain to do is because that back glass does roll down, so we are going to have to take all the headrests out, fold the seats down, pop that top part of that trim panel off there, and there is a rubber sweep that you have to remove. So we'll get that pulled out of there, and then we'll roll the window back up that we can clean it. There's that tool I showed in one of our other videos that works really good for removing those rubber sweeps. Doesn't damage them either. Since this has got rear defroster, we can't use a stainless steel razor blade, so we're going to go through and use a aggressive white scrubby pad. That's not going to hurt the defrosters, but it is going to be aggressive enough that if there is any kind of debris on there, it will break it up, that we can squeegee it off there. Make sure we get that top edge. That's almost always going to be a little grungy because it is sticking up against a rubber gasket. We'll get our water squeegee down, and we'll be ready to wet it down and get this thing stuck. This is obviously one solid back glass, so we got a nice long piece of tint that we got to get in here without touching too many things. So we'll get that slid down in the gap. It's always a good idea to wipe down everything around where you're planning on tinting. That way if you do accidentally touch something like he is now, that hopefully there's not going to be any debris in the tint. If this would have been like an old truck, maybe would have had a lot of dirt in it, we probably would have ended up having to redo that there. But since it was a brand new truck, it was clean. It didn't cause any issues with our tint. We'll get the water squeegeed out here along the middle and the top section. Then we'll roll that window up so we can squeegee all the lower half towards the bottom. Alright, that's done. We'll get our sweep back in here, get everything clipped back down, get our headrest put back in, and then we'll wipe any of our excess water that might have got on the plastic while we were in there. That's not going to hurt anything. We'll get this window cleaned while we're in here. I'm not going to show you us tinting the other side because obviously it's the exact same. We'll go ahead and get all these windows cleaned so that way we can inspect and make sure our tint looks good. I'll shut the doors here that you can see what it looks like with the 20% over the back factory tint and 35% on the front. Again, this was ceramic tint through High Tech. I think the quality's awesome. I think it matches really good with factory tint, especially if you go with their black. So this is the Ceramic Pro Black. Once he gets that other door shut back there, you'll see just how dark it really gets in there. Again, that net's 5%. You can't see what's in the back seat. 35% is legal in Missouri, which is where we are. So that's what you got to do. We'll get this thing pulled out, and thanks for watching. If you got any questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.